Just want to talk about intuition again. Like, how do we really know what's your intuition and what's our trauma, fear, uh, anger, any of these emotions? Like, how do we know that we're making a decision that's based on our intuition? Like what I said, like I feel calm, I feel good, I feel peaceful. Yet I still don't know if this contemplation of me going back or staying is my intuition or a fear-based decision. I think I trust my intuition in terms of when it tells me to work on my passions, when it tells me to go for a walk, when it tells me to spend time in the sun, like all of those things I can hear clearly and I feel that it's my intuition guiding me to do that. Um, when it comes to going to a place to meet a connection, I trust my intuition to lead me there. If it tells me to pick up the phone and call someone, I trust my intuition to do that. So it's like I can hear my intuition in those situations. Those are so clear. However, when it comes to big life decisions where it matters where to live, where a lot of people just stay in their comfort zone, so they don't make a lot of these choices to move outside the country, especially when they have kids, small children. They usually do that in their younger age, and then sometimes they settle in that country that they picked or travel to different countries and settle in one of them. But I think that's the hardest place to hear your intuition, whether if this was the right decision or if you've made this decision because you had no other choice. Like I said this before, whatever you're manifesting, whatever you're putting into the universe, so if I start thinking about Toronto, 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 the universe is going to open doors for me to go back to Toronto. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's my highest abundant timeline. My highest abundant timeline could be here. Or maybe this is not my highest abundant timeline and it was just healing and me supposed to go back there. So it's just like when you're trying to stay on your highest abundant timeline, which is what we're born into, but that's why we really have to take the time to know ourselves, to know what will make us happy. That's why big decisions are the hardest to make, because I've experienced both places. I've experienced Toronto. I know that there was situations where I didn't feel happy there, but also that was my perception because of the situation that I was in that was toxic. So it made me repulsed by the city itself and family connections and all these other things made me so repulsed by that place. But if I change my perception, at the end of the day, you can make anywhere work. So if I were to go back to Toronto and I build my community and I start pursuing things that I like and getting the kids into things that they like and all of these things, then yeah, that will feel fulfilling and I'll feel like I made the right choice. Whereas here, if I start doing the same thing, start going out, meeting people, and I guess stop making excuses. Like, even though my kid is home, if I really wanted to and I was really in a desperate situation, then I would be trying to find a way to make money any means possible. So it's just one of those things that like it's all on the choices that we make that determine whether we succeed somewhere or not, or whether somewhere becomes home to us or not. Whereas if we just stay stagnant and not taking the actions to make choices, then we feel overwhelmed and not happy where we are because we're not taking those actions to change the things that we really want to change in our lives. Like, I find time to make the video right now. I find time to write. I find time to cook. I find time to do all these other things that if income is so important for me to be able to provide for my kids and not be in a situation where I'm just surviving but thriving, then I would be making it happen. And now this goes back to intuition. Like, my perception has been that the creator has been telling me to work on healing, build back up your nervous system so you're ready to be back into the world. And then work on your passions while you're doing that. While you're healing, work on your passions, record every day, write, all of these things. So I've been doing that. I've been leading to that and believing that my intuition has been leading me to do this because it felt easy. It felt comfortable to do it. It hasn't felt like a struggle. So now I'm questioning, is that, am I supposed to just keep leading with blind faith and doing the actions that I feel that my intuition is leading me? Or because I'm constantly feeling this overwhelmment that I want to get myself out of this stuck situation and that's what's making me consider going back, am I supposed to go back into the matrix and find a job that maybe I'm not happy with, but it puts me in that situation where I could be thriving? But because I'm always in the state of balancing logic and intuition, like I think on a logical standpoint of how everything fits together, but I still try to use my intuition and have faith, is that I think the likelihood of me meeting people who are writers, are creatives, and that speak English are less likely. Yeah, there's people that come from England and all that stuff, but usually they're tourists and they're on vacation. So it's like through meeting people in person, I could potentially run into people that are on the same wavelength, and vice versa online. By me posting videos and stuff, the universe aligns me with other people that are in the same wavelength. So it's again having faith that the universe will physically and online allow me to align with people who are meant to come into contact with me. Or do I, quote unquote, not have faith based on my experience that I had in Toronto with the writing workshops and the acting workshops and the improv courses? There's so many more opportunities for me to meet people who are on that wavelength, who are aligned with my frequency. So it's just like there's a part of me that's saying what's meant to be will be no matter where you are. But also my logical mind is saying that you've already experienced that you could make those connections there. Can you really make those connections here? Like, you've been going out, you've been trying to a degree. Like, I haven't been not taking the actions to try to meet people. Like, summer last year, I went to the beach, the pool, the local kids party thing that they do next door to me. Every night I was going to that and letting the kids go and have fun. And then also during this winter, I've been going to the beach, going to the park, trying to meet people who align with me. And I've met some moms, but they're not on that same like intellectual capacity as me, or creative pursuits. So it's like they speak English, they're good people, some of the moms I met, but I don't feel refreshed. I don't feel stimulated when I'm in their presence. So it's like good for the kids to play with other kids, but I don't feel anything from it. So it's like I'm doing all these things to try to make it happen. I've been here for almost a year now, and still what I want to align with hasn't come into fruition, and I've done all the work to change. It's like this whole concept of what's meant to be will be, right? And so many times in my life, I feel like, yes, that has worked out. Like that, the connections I've made I was meant to meet those people at that time and learn whatever lessons that I had to learn and build long-term connections or short-term connections, season or reason. But also, if you're afraid to make a decision, then are you stopping what's meant to be? But I think if you don't fully know what you want, like for me, where I want to live, then the universe is just going to throw people on you and see which one sticks. So, I don't know. It's a hard thing to understand and to have faith in, because you're like, am I stopping what's meant to be by not making a decision? Am I just staying in a place of just doing what I think I'm supposed to because I'm afraid of the unknown? So I guess the point of it is just focus on what you want. Figure out what you want. And if it ends up being a quote-unquote mistake, you'll learn something from it. If you're not happy with that decision that you made, then you can make something else after. Like, we can't prevent mistakes from happening because we don't know what our life will look like in that situation. Even if we try to think how it would play out, we still don't know because we're not experiencing that timeline.